Good morning. It's Wednesday, March 30th, and I read an article this morning about the peace talks that are taking place in Turkey between Ukraine and Russia and Turkey as a mediator. And when I started reading this article, I thought I might rant about it. But it is so complicated. The twists and turns and all of the countries that are involved and why some of them support Russia and why some of them support the West, the United States and the European Union. And then they talk about all of these countries that have abstained from saying anything about the Ukrainian conflict. Because on different levels within each country they oppose Russia or they're for Russia. Like Turkey has deals with Russia, but then they don't like other things that Russia does, and they're involved with Russia in the Middle East and everything, and then they're not involved, and then they're trading, and then they're not trading. Anyhow, that topic would be so complicated that it would take us months to go through the entire thing. So if you're really interested and have nothing better to do, then go read some of these things and understand why the United Arab Emirates is sitting on the fence, but they want to have a relationship with the United States, but they won't do certain other things with the United States because that would conflict with something else that they're doing, and then they're pissed off because the U.S. didn't help them in Yemen, etc., etc., etc. So I'm not going to talk about that. I'm going to talk about possible criminal charges that could be brought against our former president, Donald J. Trump. So we have a federal judge, David Carter is his name, has said, based upon the evidence, the court finds it more likely than not that President Trump corruptly attempted to obstruct the joint session of Congress on January 6, 2021. And he's talking about a collaboration between Donald Trump and his right-wing attorney, John Eastman. And he's saying they may have been planning a crime, but he's come out and said they probably did plan a crime. Carter went on to explain that our nation was founded on the peaceful transition of power. And this was epitomized by George Washington laying down his sword to make way for democratic elections. But Donald Trump ignored history, and he vigorously campaigned for the vice president to single-handedly determine the results of the 2020 election. Every American, this is what Carter is saying, every American, and certainly the President of the United States, knows that in a democracy, leaders are elected, not installed. Now here's the problem that Judge Carter faces. He really can't do anything about this information that he has decided makes Donald a criminal. He can't do anything about it. And the House committee can't do anything about it. They do not have the ability nor the lawfulness to prosecute Trump or his allies for this alleged conspiracy. That decision falls on the Justice Department, which is facing a lot of pressure from the left to be aggressively go after those like Trump and his inner circle. Those people who were involved in the January 6th insurrection and went beyond physically breaching the Capitol, because we know that 5 people died in that thing. Now I'm wondering if what this Judge Carter said affects certain people, other people in the government, like Ted Cruz and Gosar and people like that who physically went down to the Capitol on the day that Vice President Pence was validating the results, certifying the results of the election. And they had objections. They were objecting vigorously and carrying on at the Capitol building also. I wonder if Judge Carter's view encompasses all of those people who participated along with Trump. Or is he the only one that's really at fault here as the organizer and the lead perpetrator of this insurrection? So because of the judge's pronouncement, Dr. Eastman, who's the attorney for Trump, is also a doctor of some kind. I don't know if he's really a doctor, or is it just a PhD in law or something like that. He's asking all persons interested in the case to join him in calling upon the January 6th committee to release all the evidence to the courts so the public can reach accurate conclusions. Well, the public is not law sufficient, law intelligent enough to reach the proper conclusions. We've seen that. Half this country doesn't need to see this information. As far as they're concerned, Donald Trump is innocent. So, I mean, Eastman pleading for the information to be released in the public is kind of ridiculous, because the public is going to go one way or the other, depending upon the way they feel about the whole thing, you know. And Trump's spokesman said the whole ruling is absurd. It can't be that way. This is an absurd, baseless ruling by a Clinton-appointed judge, a judge in California. Now, we've heard plenty of Trump-appointed judges say similar things to what Judge Carter said. So that is not the right approach, to accuse the judge of being a Democrat or a Republican or a Clinton or a Trump or maybe even a Carter appointee. It doesn't make any difference. Judges are supposed to be impartial. But of course, somebody with Trump's view of the world can't understand that. The emails that Judge Carter has approved for disclosure will not immediately be made public, but they will go to the committee. And it's up to committee to take it to justice or wherever it's supposed to go, or they can ignore it for all we know. Judge Carter's concern is that if Trump isn't held accountable for this, then it's quite possible that history could repeat itself. He said this committee must investigate it. They must try. They must pursue accountability for those responsible. Because if that does not happen, we leave ourselves open for a future January 6th event. And that is a terrible, terrible situation to put this country in, to leave us open for another possible debacle on the certification of our presidencies. So I leave you with that this morning. California judge has made these pronouncements, and he's openly thrown it out into the public domain, so to speak. And let's hope that Trump gets what he deserves. That's it for today. Bye.